Welcome to the Daily Ramble on Claret and Booze. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Daily Ramble. My name's Gary, and this is my Daily Ramble. And there's quite a lot to ramble about today. So let's start. Let's just dive straight in, shall we? Fixtures were released today. West Ham are not leaving London for until October the 26th when we go to Man U. That's our very first league game we've got on the road outside of London, believe it or not. Pretty amazing, really. Interesting set of fixtures. I'd say the end is actually quite an easy end compared to what we've had in the past. Our first game is live on Sky against Aston Villa on the 17th of August. I think if you look at those fixtures, though, take them with a pinch of salt. Don't start making plans, because by the time Sky and everybody else get hold of them, they're going to be on different days and everything anyway. We go pre-season. We've got 2 games in Florida coming up shortly after the Euros. We're going to talk about the Euros later, by the way. 27th of July, we're playing Wolves and we're playing Palace on the 4th of August. And it's quite funny because only a few weeks after playing Palace in Florida, we actually play them in London. There are apparently 7 more transfers incoming. God knows who they are, because we're on the radar of about 130 different players at the moment, or we've got 130 different players on our radar. It seems, as Nick was explaining the other day, that West Ham are playing silly buggers a little bit, a lot, and that is that Tim does the legwork and goes around and working with his network to identify talents, people who've got a vested interest, obviously people who have helped that player develop and get where they are, to where they're attractive, to the point in their life and their career where they're attractive to a team like West Ham, and West Ham want to make a bid for them, right? All those people, to my mind anyway, deserve to get paid whatever they're, there's probably a lot of them, a lot of intermediaries. This is the way football works, right? They've all helped to develop that player and get him to the stage in his career where he's worth money, right? And what West Ham seem to do is come along and try to cut people out and put their own people in. And that unsettles deals. It derails deals. And the latest one to be derailed by West Ham is Matthias Soulé. Again, exactly as Nick said, whenever this happens, they run away from the deal saying the club have raised their price, doubled their price, or the agent wants something ridiculous or whatever. And lo and behold, they've said Juventus want double the fee they wanted previously. So that's nonsense, and that deal is going to go nowhere. Shame, good player. But while we put other priorities ahead of the, getting the players we need, this is what's going to happen. There is also some troubling news today around AC Milan. They want to test our resolve on 30-year-old Emerson. I don't know why we'd even consider selling Emerson. There's just no need. So I'll take that as I know he's played in Italy before and he's Italian international and whatever, but he must be settled in London. He seems pretty happy, doesn't he? Jadon Osterwolde, left wing back, lightning fast, 6'2" from Fenerbahce, age 23, being linked quite heavily with him for about 17 million. Nikola Milenkovic, somebody who you might recognise from, he's a Serbian centre back who played against England the other night, but also played for Fiorentina in the final. He's right-sided, can play fullback. Very, very impressive as well. Very dominant, dogged defender. I'd like him, I must admit. We're being linked by David Ornstein to Riccardo Calafiori of Bologna, a centre-back. Half of Europe want him as well. 22 years old, Italian international centre-back. What are you going to do? Darmesh confirmed we're talking to Wolves about the left-sided centre-back, Max Kilman, who we've been, linked with since before. Well, we're still before the transfer window, to be fair, but since the end of the season. He's got a 25% sell-on clause. So if we pay, that's why they want so much. So if we paid 40 million for him, they'd only get 30 million out of it. And the 10 million would go to, guess who? Go to Alan Devonshire's club, Maidenhead, who he manages. That's quite nice. That's like a charitable donation, if you like. We'd probably sustain Maidenhead for the next 30 years or something. Great news in that Southampton want Danny Ings. They want to rescue him from purgatory and probably pay his wages as well. As long as we're not paying any of his wages, totally support that. £6 million they want to buy him for. I suspect he'll join Zuma and Agüed out the door as well. Can't be much longer before they go. We're being linked with somebody as well who we were linked with last summer called Moyes Keane. Now, there's a name that I don't like. Moyes Keane. Moyes. Fuck that. No, let's not get Moyes Keane. 24-year-old, 15 senior caps for Italy, plays for Juventus. He's got 3 league titles, a bunch of cups for Italy and France, but he's one of these players who made a fantastic start and seems to have just tailed off. And he's got 22 goals in 114 league games. True Moyes. True Moyes. Moyes ball, right there. The one that I do like, or there's a few that I do like, obviously, Samu Omaridian, 30 million. You know that. Nick's mentioned it already about the offer being turned down by Atletico Madrid. We're out of the race for En-Nesyri. Let me tell you this now, we're never out of the race for En-Nesyri. We'll be linked with En-Nesyri every fucking transfer window for the next 10 years, like we have the last 10 years. Don't worry about that. We ain't stopped being linked with him until he retires, and then he'll probably be linked with us to be the new manager. Serhou Guirassy, interest from Man United and Dortmund. 28-year-old, absolute, a top draw striker from Stuttgart. Again, been mentioned by Nick. 28 goals in 28, and he's 28 years old. It's made for us, isn't it? Goalkeepers. There is we have been rumoured to be signing Wes Foderingham. Apparently, that's nearly done. We might also be signing Tim Krul. Remember him? Nathan Crotch. Nathan Trott. We've been offered 2 million from FC Copenhagen for him. And as we know, Jacob Knightsbridge and Joseph Anang are already gone. So I think Lopetegui, being an ex-top-class keeper, is probably very selective about his keepers. He only actually kept one member of the coaching staff, and that was the goalkeeping coach. Right, so I think he takes a really close interest in goalkeepers, obviously. Ben Johnson, finally, talks going well. Hopefully a new 5-year deal is progressing. It's an interesting window, isn't it? There's a lot of different links there. And I've got to say, most of them are for top-class players, but you've got to question yourself, are we just scattergunning now? Are we lining up deals and then flying the West Ham team in to see if they can, make it suit them? I don't know. I don't know how many of these are serious and how many are not, but I hope some of them are because, as I said at the top of the show, we're looking to make 7 new signings. It's going to be a mixed bag, isn't it? It's going to be a mixed bag of very expensive and hopefully pearls that Tim has dived for. On to England news. So I think my personal highlight of the tournament so far was seeing Jared Bowen come on for the last 15 minutes of that game, and what he did in that 15 minutes, he provided so much defensive cover, defended like a Trojan, and also obviously nearly setting up the goal. How the bloody hell did the keeper save that? I had 2-0 prediction in the prediction league as well, so that's pathetic. I got mugged off twice there. And Jared, I had him in me fantasy league as well. I don't even do fantasy league. Imagine that. I would have got points, double bubble points. Like Nick said on his breakfast show, I was storming away with it. I don't take any interest in fantasy league at all, but there I was at the top of the fantasy league, the Claret Booze fantasy league, also top of the prediction league, and then fucking Sam Oakes decides to knock me off last night, so I've tumbled down to 7th place in the fantasy league. That's not a surprise. I never expected to be there in the first place. But I'm still top of the prediction league. That's where I'm staying. It's one thing I'm good at, predicting. Yeah, I usually predict things first. So, some great comments from Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker about how well Jared did. He also got 7 out of 10 from most of the papers, and he got all the plaudits he deserved for once. This coincides with a quite a big media campaign to try and get him to move to Newcastle. I hope that don't happen, but this seems to be getting more and more frequent as the days go on. I hate it. He's got to stay with us. He has no choice. My second biggest highlight of the tournament so far has been, I've got loose lips, has seen David Moyes totally out of his depth as a football pundit live on telly. He didn't realise that people can disagree with you. I think he spent too many years doing that, that post-match presser where He gets, people ask him, they load up the questions for him, and he gives us simple answers, and they accept the bullshit and everything else. When he starts bullshitting in the studio, they were clearly at half time in that game. Well, the England game was it? It was one of the others. But I was sitting there with my mouth open watching it because David Moyes was clearly uncomfortable, more uncomfortable than he's ever been, because Danny Murphy was openly digging him out, and so the others. Even the presenter was digging him out. They clearly had some words at half time. One of the most comical things I've seen. I don't think you're going to get much more of David Moyes on telly, or it might be for some of the really crappy games that none of the others can make. But if you look at the pecking order of pundits, I expect he's right down the bottom now. Why the fuck would you put him on telly? I don't know. He ain't got a face for telly. He ain't got a personality for telly. Why would you put him on telly? I don't know. So, boring Southgate. Now, that was a boring second half, wasn't it? It was a really boring second half. I quite enjoyed the first half, I've got to be honest. I thought he lined up to take the lead. We did attack them, and when we attacked them, we looked pretty good. I thought Trent alongside Declan Rice, I think he's fine when you're going forward. When you're defending, as we saw in the second half, it's dangerous. It's chaos, right? So if he's going to change it around like that, like he clearly did, he should change some players around at the same time and change the formation. You can't use one set of players who are geared towards attacking and opening up the opposition, and then when you decide to sit deep, use the same set of players. And there's no need to either, right? Because he's got a wealth of talent there to choose from. There is no need for him to do that. So it took ages for. Listen, at least he gave Bowen a chance. He knows quality when he sees it. But I expect him against Denmark to revert to type and play exactly the same starting 11. He will play Saka. Saka set up the goal by hook or by crook, so I won't have too much of a pop at him. He did a right first half, I think. The two that really outraged me was Kane. I thought Kane was fucking awful. I mean, awful. And he played 94 or whatever it is minutes. We've got some talent there on the bench, some striking talent. Are they going to get a go? I'll tell you when they'll probably get a go and probably get a start will be if we beat Denmark on Thursday. Then I think you're going to see a lot of those backup players if we're guaranteed to win the table, right? The group, that's the word. If we're guaranteed to win the group, you'll probably see players like Bowen and others given a start in that last game against Slovenia. So I hope that we do beat Denmark clearly. I hope that anyway. And I think I'd like to see those backup players. I'd like to see a few of them start and take Slovenia to the cleaners as well. Wouldn't that be lovely? It was a tough watch that second half against Serbia. It really was. It really, really was. So that is me done. My first normal daily ramble for quite some time. Nick's doing his breakfast show, so don't forget to tune in at 6:30 tomorrow to see that. I've been watching it, but I ain't been watching it at 6:30. I've been watching it at 7 because I'm lazy. But nonetheless, it works the same at 7 o'clock as it does at 6:30. Give it a watch if you haven't already. It's very good. And if you've enjoyed this show, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel, why not, to Claret and Booze on YouTube. And hit the bell notification icon as well. And until next time, enjoy the summer. I hope the summer stays with us for a little while longer. And hopefully I'll do another daily ramble in a few days' time. Speak to you soon. Come on, you irons.